Hi everyone, I'm Nicole Harris.
And I'm Callie Tessier.
And we're engineers at Horton. Welcome to our podcast,
Between Two Fans, featuring our field service manager, Dale.
Hello.
So this is Dale Johnson. He's our field service manager at Horton. So we'll just go into first background on Dale. So Dale, how did you get started at Horton?
I started at Horton back in 1988
Okay.
as a machinist. So back
Okay.
at the plant in Britton, South Dakota.
Okay.
It's my home area out in there.
Okay.
And I was a machinist there for 5 or 6 years.
Oh wow, okay.
Made basically components of fan drives, assembly, all that kind of good stuff. So and then I was the warranty technician.
Okay.
I did that for about another 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
And then in 2005, they offered me the field service manager position, and I moved from Britton out here to Roseville. So
Okay.
What exactly does a field service manager do at Horton?
the field service man, I kind of describe my position as a kind of a liaison between sales, engineering, and the customer. So that's
Okay.
how I look at it. Solving customer problems, solving application issues, helping customers with different applications and retrofitting. I'm kind of a jack of all trades and master of none. So,
Okay.
so
That makes sense.
So that's and it's very rewarding, and to solve customer issues and internal and external customers, as I look at it, between engineering and sales, our internal customers, and then we have our external customers with the fleets and the dealerships and the distributors.
Okay. So would you say as field service manager you primarily do, is it more of like on-road issues or off-road issues?
I deal with both, just
Okay.
whatever phone call or email comes in is how I address it.
Okay.
So, and obviously, Horton is getting more diversified, but majority of our business at this point in time is in the on-highway, but the off-highway is growing considerably.
Okay.
And the main difference is the on-highway is more of a traditional field, and people are really familiar with the products
Yeah.
and how but with the off-highway, it's, within the last 5 to 10 years, it's really grown into more automation and fan clutches and fan drives, because it's, how do I want to say it? The noise and the noise pollution and the power that's needed with the fan drives has changed in the
Okay.
industry.
That makes sense, yep.
So,
Would you say it's more of like on-road, everybody kind of knows what they're doing, and then off-road, it's more of kind of like a...
New frontier?
Yeah, it's kind of like a new
yeah,
territory.
yeah, it is like a new frontier, and we were told, like 10 years ago, you will have, like the viscous products, for example, we were told 10 to 15 years ago, you will have that product or you won't. No, you'll no longer be in the business. So
Yeah.
we developed it. And,
Okay.
And that's what's been implemented into a lot of the off-highway applications because of its reliability.
So off-highway uses a lot of viscous clutches, but our Horton's portfolio has a bunch of different type of clutches. Do you see viscous in on-road a lot, or do you see our other types of clutches?
The viscous fan drives are expanding more and more in the on-highway products. So, in the on-highway applications. But like I said, like 10 years ago, we were told by the powers that be in the truck industry that you will have this product or you won't be in the business. So it's gaining more popularity in the U.S., in the truck market, different from the auto industry. Moves a little bit slower.
Okay, yep.
So it's still common to see our on-off clutches and two-speed clutches?
Yeah, I would say probably 75% of the applications on the on-highway today are on-off, pneumatic on-off and two-speed fan drive.
Are there benefits to keeping those on-off clutches and two-speed clutches compared to a viscous clutch in on-highway applications?
On the on-highway applications, in order to convert to a viscous, it's a retrofit process, and you might have to do engine reprogramming and change fans, and it can be a little more can be a little more extensive process.
I was
with
gonna
the
say
on-
it might just be easier financially to keep the on-off instead of going to
Yeah.
a viscous or something, just because of all of like the rework that you would have to do.
But there are some applications where the viscous product is more beneficial to the customer from reliability
Okay.
and longevity and product performance.
What would you say the biggest like benefit of having like on and off versus viscous is?
But there's depends on the application. Like with the
Okay.
on-off highway, I'll just start from basic that 85% of fan cycles are AC related. Air
Okay.
conditioning, whether it be air conditioning in the summer or defrost in the winter. And when you're going down the highway 65 miles an hour, there's a lot of air coming through the cooling package.
Yep.
And the fan drive only needs to engage maybe 10 to 15% of the time.
Okay.
Whereas if you have what we call an off-highway or a non-traditional truck where it has a lower ground speed, it causes more, results in more fan cycles.
Okay. So it's all application dependent pretty much.
Yeah, application specific. And for example, but where the viscous is more beneficial than an on-off is a sense that, say, optimum operating temperature of an engine is 210 degrees. And when you turn a pneumatic fan drive, it turns on and it runs for like a minute and a half, and it'll bring it down to 185, 190. So the vehicle isn't running more efficient as it can.
Okay.
But with a viscous, it's variable speed. It can go it can operate at any RPM from 100 RPM up to 2,800 RPM or anywhere in between. And it keeps that engine optimum operating temperature within 5 to 7 degrees
The whole time.
the whole time.
Okay.
And therefore, it's burning the fuel more completely.
Okay.
And the vehicle's operating more efficiently with more horsepower, because like a 32-inch 11-blade fan can take 75 to 100 horsepower to turn that fan
Yep.
at full speed. So if you can reduce those fan cycles, you're saving fuel, you're saving energy, you're saving power. And I like to say that Horton was green before green was cool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
And we've been doing it since 1974.
Okay.
So, what do the lifespans kind of look like for Horton's clutches?
The lifespan, you mean the average life expectancy, or
Yeah.
on an average, the warranty is 5 years, 500,000 miles, 3 years, 350,000 miles, depending on the application. Design intent is around 500,000 to 700,000 miles. So, and dependent upon the application. So if you have a dump truck or a cement truck or whatever, the fan clutch is going to cycle more because it's operating more often. It's slower ground speed. Whereas if you have a over-the-road truck, it's going up and down the road, and the fan clutch doesn't have to cycle as often. So the life expectancy of an on-highway truck is greater than that of a vocational or off-highway vehicle.
That makes sense.
So in off highway, have you had any like troubling applications, or do you have like an interesting application you've seen just for off highway?
Just off-highway, I've worked with, it's basically, I guess you can consider it off-highway. It's a concrete pumper.
Okay.
That can sit there for, 10 to 12 hours pumping concrete
Yeah.
off and on.
Yep.
And that's where they had a pneumatic fan drive on it, and we retrofitted over to a viscous.
Okay.
Because it was more applicable to that stationary operation. And it really improved the performance and decreased any downtime with it. So,
Okay.
So that was, there's a lot of success stories in that standpoint, but Horton Engineering they've always predicated themselves on being in front with the customer. So.
Yes.
How often do you go out and help retrofit different applications?
The retrofit has slowed down because people have become, but I'm usually out, I would say on an average about 3 weeks a month, 3 weeks in a month, excuse me. And visiting customers, I do a lot of training with customers and how, especially with the newer product, with the viscous and how it functions, how it operates, with technicians and fleets and different types of distributors, everything. So I spend about on an average 3 weeks
Wow. Okay.
out of the month on the road, but 3-4 days a week.
Do you think most people kind of understand, like, once you tell them what they need to do? Because are you teaching them, like, how to install or more of, like, how to troubleshoot? when you go out?
Install, maintenance, and repair.
Okay.
And how to install the clutch, how to maintain it, inspect it, look for different items that control the fan drive that could cause malfunctions, and then how to repair it.
Okay.
So on vehicle and classroom training. But I really enjoy with the teaching and training. Been involved in a lot of technical colleges and the diesel programs.
Oh, okay.
So with a lot of students, new students coming up, there's a shortage of technicians
Yep.
in the truck industry and the diesel technology in general. And I've had the opportunity to teach at probably 10 or 15, or do training at 10 or 15 different colleges
Okay.
in the United States. The other, like, certain states have trucking championships or technician championships.
I had no idea this existed.
Yeah, there's, where the state trucking organization, they have a competition, and it's through the Truck Maintenance Council, and then they go, coming up here in September, I will be in Cleveland, Ohio. It's a national truck technician championships.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
And I've been judging there for about the last 7
You're
or
a
8
judge?
years. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
yeah. So I really enjoy doing that
Yeah.
in training. And then we also, as part of that whole meeting that we set up, the best practices in the truck industry as experts in our fields. And all over the trucking industry, we share our expertise and our knowledge and with everyone in the industry. And we've built basically a recommended practices manual of, I don't know, probably 500,000 different topics
Wow.
that are in there over the past 25 years.
Okay.
So, and people can go on and reference that when they're doing repairs. So that's really a great part of my position and
Yeah.
things that I do. So,
You get to teach people a lot of different stuff.
yeah.
That's
it's
very fun.
That's fun.
So between on highway and off highway, would you say, like, does off highway have, like, more needs in terms of, like, sound, fuel efficiency, stuff like that, or do you think on highway has more of that?
The speed and the sound has become the noise pollution or the decibels all across the industry, whether it be in the on-highway or the off-highway, that it's become a pretty
bigger
big
issue?
factor, bigger issue and a factor in there, because we can reduce the decibels quite significantly, like on a gen set running out in the truck, or in a construction area. And it makes a lot of noise when that fan turns on. And
Yep.
we have several different videos that we've created where we reduce the sound significantly, because we've shut off the fan prior to having a viscous or even just a pneumatic fan clutch on these applications. They ran all the time.
Yep.
And they run for 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day. And we reduce it. And then in turn, the benefit is of increased fuel and efficiency of the vehicle and or equipment.
Yep. And it makes sense because there's a lot more people around, like gen sets and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Less around, I guess, in on highway, you probably don't see as much of that. Maybe a little.
Yeah, it's somewhat with the drivers and technicians that are working on them. And but with the OE, when they do when the truck manufacturers design the truck, and that's part of the whole scope, is to keep the sound level with the hood down. You have to meet a certain criteria.
Okay, so there's a lot more requirements in on-road then
Right.
than off for noise.
Right.
Okay.
So Horton's a worldwide company, and I know that all over the world people have different regulations. How often do you work? Do you mainly work with customers inside the U.S. or do you work with customers outside the U.S. as well?
Well, U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
US,
that
Canada.
I work with. I've been up to Canada 2-3 times this year thus far. So it's always great to help work with our partners up there. We have regional managers and sales representatives all across the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. And I work with them in arranging with seeing the customers and the fleets and the distributors, and just to get out with him and train them. And if they have issues, and we address them. And sometimes it's just to go out there to visit and do training. Sometimes there's an issue that comes up, and I go out there and help the customer solve it, the issues that be.
Do you have like a most common issue that customers call you about? Is there like a simple fix for it, or do you is it kind of all across the board, the different issues?
It goes all across the board, but in a mechanical standpoint, and when you understand how things work and how they function, that's how my brain works.
Yep.
That if I know how it works and how it functions and take it apart and put it back together, it's easier. But it's kind of the same on both sides as far as but it's just some very common, I don't know how to explain it, but just mechanical knowledge of how things work.
Yeah.
That's what I run into.
So basically, if somebody had like a little bit more mechanical background of the clutch, they would
Right.
probably know how to do it.
And that's kind of where I put in my training, where I think it's value added, is so everyone understands how it works, and they can resolve the issue.
Themselves instead of calling you.
Yeah.
Not that they wouldn't want to see you. Obviously,
Yeah.
they want to visit from Dale.
Yeah. So,
Everybody wants to.
yeah, I had a phone call from a customer just the other day, and he said, I was told by one of my compadres that you're the fan clutch whisperer. So I said, well, I'll take that as a compliment.
You
know.
should. You should.
That's definitely a compliment.
But after 35 years at Horton, so I've been very blessed. I've been very fortunate and have great people to work with. And 35, I knew I'd been here 30-some plus years, but somebody on LinkedIn just had said, oh, congratulations, because September 21st, so I've completed
That's your
35
anniversary.
years of
Congratulations.
employment at Horton. And somebody from LinkedIn, and they said, congratulations on 35 years at Horton. And I wow, it's been that long. Not that I forgot I've been here, but
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like 35 years.
What's your favorite part about working for Horton?
The great people that I get to work with all the time, and I talked about this earlier, but it's the internal and external. I treat them all as customers, and
Yep.
working with them and do the right thing.
Yep.
Take care of the customer, take care of your coworkers, and help them out when you can.
Yep.
So that's
Totally agree. Kelly helps me out all the time.
Yeah, and we don't get through life or work without some of that. Yeah,
Yep.
get by with a little help from my friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you've worked at Horton for a while. I bet you have a lot of stories. Do you have any interesting ones or favorite ones about either working with the people at Horton or working with anybody out in the field?
Boy, after 35 years, there's a lot of them. But one thing that stands out to me is we received a call like on a Wednesday afternoon. Mm-hmm. This was several years ago. I don't know if I could do it anymore, but there was 75 trucks that need to ship from a manufacturer.
Okay.
And the manufacturer had made a design. They had designed it incorrectly, or had to requested it incorrectly. So myself, and there was 5-6 of us, and we flew out to Texas, and we had 75 trucks. We left on a Friday, like at 1 o'clock,
Okay.
or got there about 1 o'clock, and it was like 97 degrees.
Oh gosh.
And
That's brutal in Texas.
yes, and it was hot and humid.
Especially when you're working
and
on
we
a
were
truck.
working on these trucks outside.
Yep.
So we stopped at Whataburger and had lunch, when we landed.
Yep.
And we had to work, and we had to go all day, Saturday. And
Oh
well,
my
the
gosh.
Whataburger in the heat didn't set with me very
Oh
well.
yeah,
Ooh.
probably not. Probably not.
So yeah, and but I got 2 or 3 trucks, and then I said, oh, I need to drink more water. I'm not
Yeah.
doing very. And but we ended up finishing that by Sunday morning. We had 75 trucks
Wow.
retrofitted with brand new fan clutches on them. It wasn't really a Horton issue, but we helped our customers solve the issue.
Yes.
But like on Friday evening, the head of engineering at Horton, that they somebody had told them that I hadn't felt the best for a little while,
Yeah.
but I drank some water and pushed on through. And
Yep.
he called to check on me. This is the vice president of engineering.
Yes.
Wanted to see how Whataburger and I were getting along, but
I hope better.
yeah. So, but that's just one of, and there's been so many instances where take the Horton crew, as I call it, or that from engineering and field service and sales, we all jump in
To work
and
together.
work together and solve the issue or help the customer out in one anyway. That was like.
Yep.
We pulled in, that was a similar type thing. We pulled in and we had to do a similar type issue and had 150 trucks to do. It was not as much work.
Yep.
But he said, there's no way you're gonna get this done in 6 hours.
Yeah.
And we were out of there in 5.
Way to
Wow.
prove them wrong.
Yeah, so, yeah, don't give us a challenge, we'll meet it.
Very impressive.
So, but, that's just a few of them, but I could go on for days, but.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself outside of Horton?
Outside of Horton,
Yeah.
I enjoy life. Between Joanne and I, we have 11 grandchildren.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I bet that keeps you busy.
Yeah, they go all the way from 22 years old down to 3.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, there's boys and girls, and yeah, it's great that I spend as much time as I can with them when I'm not traveling, and we like to go dancing on the weekends. I spend
Oh.
most of the weekend dancing, and we enjoy that. We've danced for 17 years, so
Holy.
yeah.
That is a
So
lot.
you started off in Britain, and now you're working in Roseville, Minnesota. How often do you go back and forth?
every
between-
week.
Every week?
No, it's just kind of interesting. I always tell the story about Joanne and I, and they said, well, how does it work between you, have a 3 hours, 42 minutes, 37-second commute
Yeah.
on
Down to
Fridays
seconds.
after 17 years, but they said, where do you sit, and I said,
Yeah.
well, it goes the kids, the grandkids, the dogs, and then Dale.
Yeah.
So, but and I say that lovingly, with a tongue in cheek, but that's actually how we met, was dancing. So
Oh,
That's
everything from ballroom dancing to jitterbug to old time polka and waltzes. So we do a little bit of working on the Latin dances now,
like a salsa.
like the salsa and the
Okay.
cha-cha and
Oh.
Tango?
those.
Tango?
Tango, not yet.
One day.
Just the salsa and the cha-cha right now.
You just have to find the time to learn the new dances.
Yes.
Nice.
Do you go, so you go there every weekend then?
Yeah, sometimes she comes here. So,
Okay.
so, and I have grandkids down in southern Missouri and up in northern Minnesota. And so, try to get around to see them whenever. That's what I'm doing when I'm not here at Horton.
Very fun. Very
Traveling
fun.
for work and his personal life.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah. So
Traveling man.
Keeps you busy.
I was just hoping that my car would have autopilot.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you
going
can get
out.
the, like the self-driving feature.
Because you head out on Highway 7 and you just keep going west until you hit I-29.
Yep.
Well, you work in the automotive industry, so hopefully if one of those comes up, you'll be the first to hear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when they're traveling on vacation and I see a truck broke down on the side of the road.
Yep.
She said, don't you dare stop, but I probably would.
Have you stopped before and helped people? With
I
like
have
at
w-
least like Horton related, have you?
Oh, yeah, I stop and help. But I stopped and helped people before. It may not have been a Horton problem,
Okay.
but I had.
you do help, yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever randomly stopped and encountered a Horton problem? No?
No.
That's good news for
That's
us.
good news for
Yeah,
us.
that's good. Well, the only thing I was watching, like Ice Road Truckers.
Yeah,
And Daryl was driving the truck, and they were saying, "Oh, the fan clutch broke down,"
Oh no.
and they go to commercial.
Oh no,
And
the
I'm thinking to
suspense.
myself, "Oh, I hope it's not a Horton fan clutch," you know. And so they come back, and they open the hood, and I look, and it's a competitor's, and I'm going, "Oh yes,
Good.
good."
It's not ours.
And this is how Horton is. I told the CEO of Horton about that
Yep.
at the time, and he says, "Well, do you know who that is? You know, you need to get a hold of them and have that make sure they got a Horton on there."
Yeah.
And,
Get them a reliable clutch on there.
yeah, reliable clutch. And I said, "Well, they're filmed 1 year ahead of time." So,
Oh, true.
so-
They might have
but,
already changed.
But yeah, that's so I do help, you know, in when I can.
How would you say you think the like field service industry has changed
Yeah, just
from
the-
the very start of your career
Yeah,
till
when
now?
I first started, you know, it's more mechanical. It was
Okay.
it was very mechanical, pneumatic operation. Fan clutch turned on, the fan clutch turned off.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the more, and it was mechanical engines versus ECM controlled.
Okay, yep.
Electronic engines, so everything was manual with manual type switches and activation, solenoid valves, everything else. Now with the fan clutch function is with the viscous fan drives, it's electronic operation.
Yep.
And I had to learn, you know, how all this functions and with the software and diagnostics that very familiar with using the software for different models of trucks and how to adjust different things with the truck. And then even internally, last year we implemented called a viewable software.
Okay.
Where
Yep.
it's kind of like FaceTime, but if you have to have an iPhone to use FaceTime.
Yep.
And not everybody has an iPhone, so I can text or email a customer a link for viewable, and they don't have to load up an app or anything. And they just click on that link, and it's a live feed to me.
Oh,
And
wow.
I can walk around. You know,
Like
they
the
can walk
engine?
around with the phone and point out to what's wrong with the fan clutch or what's going on or what's with the truck. And I
Oh.
can say, well, check this wire, check this, do that.
Okay.
And resolve the issue at, you know, right there instead of maybe, you know, calling 3-4 times
Yeah.
or emails or whatever else. So,
And then you like miss each call. You know what I mean when you're playing like catch.
That
yeah,
happens
right, yeah.
Yeah.
with me.
You're playing, tag.
Yep.
Yeah, email tag or phone
So
tag.
so you'd say technology has actually helped you help more customers?
Yes, and it's easier and they're more satisfied. And when I first implemented, I was out visiting a customer and I said, "Hey, I'm going to tell you about this software." So I just texted him the link and we're right there at the truck and
Yep.
I'm showing him how it works. He goes, "This is really cool."
Yeah.
But first, because the other guy said, "I'm too busy. I don't have time for this." He was an
Yep.
older guy like me, you know,
Yep.
didn't have time like that. But he didn't have time, and as soon as he saw it, or he came over there and checked it out. So it's a great tool that we have.
Good.
And
Nice.
then I also use, whether, with Teams, we have our internal communications and Teams meetings and software like that. So it's right, and the diagnostic software developed to where we can just plug right into the fan clutch for our products and do diagnostics right on site. It's not
Yep.
remote yet, but we're getting there.
Yep.
So
Very nice. I'm glad everything has helped you
yeah.
communicate with customers more
Yeah,
easy.
and that's the whole key to it is, the customer always come first, and that's where Horton has made most of its impact.
Yep.
And it comes from the top down,
Yep.
from
Yep.
the CEO, all the
Down
way
to
down.
all of us.
All of us, yeah. I've really been blessed and fortunate to have the opportunities that Horton has afforded me over the last 35 years. So, and they're just great people. The Schilling family, and they've always been supportive of the communities that they work in as well. So
Very good.
it's like I said in the past, I was just a small town boy, and they gave me the opportunities to advance.
Yeah.
And you take advantage of those opportunities, and it's been well worth it in my tenure.
Now look at you.
Go from
Yeah.
small town Britain
Maybe
to
you don't want to look at me,
traveling.
but no, it's really been quite a ride, and I'm ready for a few more years of it.
Yeah, 10 though. You said 10.
You committed.
You committed to 10. Thanks for coming on our podcast today, Dale. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Everybody else, tune in next time as we dig deeper into our fan portfolio.
It's going to be fantastic.
And see.